What is your promise? Why are you in business? How do you expect to grow?
This is The Hook, a show focused on branding, marketing, and business development.
You brand to inspire, not to sell.
Jason Arsmont, the marketing maverick, gives expertise to business owners, serial entrepreneurs, and anyone interested in building a stronger company brand.
Creating a brand is like telling a story. You've got one shot to say it all.
When your marketing works, you've got them on the hook.
We are back on the hook. Our post-election coverage starts now.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we haven't really been on the air since the election was over last week. We had an off week because there's some U of H football going on. My name is Josh, along with the marketing maverick. That's Jason Arsmont. The show is The Hook, always on the website. You can go to the website that is thehookradio.com. I was just telling Jason that I feel a little dumber since this election is
It messed with everybody, didn't it?
Oh my gosh, man.
The ability to understand what's going on, what their intentions are, how the voting or how the polls were matching up with the actual vote count. I mean, it was... Whew, I'm glad it's over, to be honest.
You know what I keep doing is I'll post on Facebook the Electoral College,
There you
and
go.
then people post under. Nobody corrects me.
Yeah, because nobody knows.
No, it's the Electoral College. Come on now. I'm just seeing if you know how to spell it or not. And it's most of my dumb friends.
It's all your Trump support friends.
Hey, look, I don't have a dog in this fight either way. So.
Well, I mean, I do. I guess I just don't take it as serious as maybe a lot of other people, or as emotionally impactful. Let me put it that way. I mean, the sun goes down, sun comes up. This is still one nation.
Hey, let's all breathe.
It's going to be all right.
It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Seriously.
And especially starting now, because for the next 60 minutes, you will not get any political talk.
Nope, I won't be talking about it.
Because this is supposed to be a business show.
But just by mentioning politics,
we vetoed ourselves.
In this first minute and a half, I think I've done more talking about politics than the last week.
That's about right,
I've been
man.
checked out.
Yeah, so we are your business experts and advisors. So if this show is dedicated to help bring you the latest in business trends, things you can do with marketing, branding, finances, pretty much anything we can do to help you build your business. I've got a track record over the past 9 years of building 6 different companies, multiple businesses ranking on the Inc. 500 list of fastest growing companies in the United States. And so I've decided to invest all of that knowledge and my network of contacts back into a radio show and help you, the listener, out. So if you're a business owner or a marketing person or a salesperson, we've got a good show for you.
Yeah, and this is being brought to you by Brightbox. You might have heard of them.
Brightbox Brand Marketing. You can check them out at brightboxonline.com.
You still have some of my videos up there?
Ooh, which ones you talking about? The ones you sent me?
No.
You're up there, man.
No, like business videos.
Yeah, your advice. Yeah, it's up there. You can go to brightboxonline.com, click on, I think, Team. You'll see our headshots, and then there's videos all underneath there, and you can see Josh live in person.
Why didn't I get photoshopped a little bit better?
What do you mean, man?
I just want 2 chins, not 3.
Oh, man. Yeah. So for all your branding needs, we do everything at Brightbox, from marketing strategy to marketing implementation and web, graphic design, video production, social media, search engine optimization, public relations, you name it. So if you need some marketing support, please check us out there, or you can always reach Josh or I at thehookradio.com. So, man, you were camping last weekend, right? Because we had another historical night last Saturday that I know it's not necessarily business, but I like it, so tough. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, so I had plans to go and watch UFC because I'm a UFC fan, just like you. I love the sport, and this was going to be the biggest UFC ever. My plan was to go and watch it. Already had it marked on my calendar, and then something came up for Cub Scouts to go to the Chapelwood Boy Scout Wild Game Campout. And my son says...
Wild Game Campout. All right. So that sounds like you.
Yeah, they cooked 2 pigs, and they
I saw some of those pictures, man.
And a deer, and my son was like, I would love to go. And for his birthday, he said, I asked him what he wanted. He said, I can't think of anything I want. For a 10-year-old, that's pretty big.
Man.
And I said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't I take you camping for your birthday? He's like, sure, that'd be great. I'd love to go camping. Well, this opportunity came up for him to go and do archery and walk on a rope bridge and see a dead pig, stuff like that.
That's
So
the highlight.
I missed UFC completely. Not only that, but my phone died because my phone is just a piece of garbage. And so my phone died at about 9 o'clock at night.
Oh, just when the fights are
I
getting
had
started.
no idea what happened until the next day.
Well, so for those of you who don't follow, the UFC has been trying to put on a show or match in New York since the beginning of time, and probably the last 15 years. Easy.
Well, yeah, because they've only been around 21 years. So
Yeah. So, I mean, very early on, it was always kind of Madison Square Garden is like the place for large sporting events, concerts, and they've been trying to get there. And finally, just finally, this last Saturday was the first Madison Square Garden show, and the card was just stacked from Conor McGregor to Tyron Woodley to Cowboy Cerrone, although he didn't get to fight. But, man, those fights were unbelievable. So that's kind of another historic.
Misha Tate.
Yeah, Misha Tate was in there.
Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Yes,
Yep.
I believe that's how you say it.
Two strong Polish women. Man, they went at it. That was an unbelievable fight.
There were some great fights, and really, whenever you talk about marketing, there's nobody that has done a better job, I think, in sports of marketing himself since Muhammad Ali than Conor McGregor.
Yeah, this guy is 28 years old, and his composure and his just how savvy he is around media is really unparalleled. He's making, I think he's upwards of, just like $3 to $4 million
That's just for fighting.
Just for the fight. Press
That doesn't-
or sponsors and all the other stuff.
Sponsors isn't in there. Plus, they have pay-per-view buys because he gets a percentage of the pay-per-view buys that come in.
Yeah.
So on this New York card, he'll probably make $20 million, $25 million.
If you ask
something
him,
like
he'll
that.
say he's going to make 100.
Yeah, right.
Which is part of the thing about him. I mean, the guy builds his personal brand to be this over-aggressive, cocky, but not
just alpha male.
Just alpha male. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And I'd say in a fairly positive manner because at the end of the day, he's got a ton of fans and he puts butts in seats, man. If you are on a card that Conor McGregor is fighting,
you're going to make money.
You're going to make more than if Conor McGregor wasn't on that card.
That's exactly
and
right.
So that's a powerful brand. Powerful brand. For
and
sure.
And nobody thought that he would win this title that he just won because he's the first person that ever held two titles at
the same
once.
time, yeah.
Two different weight classes. And he's talking about going another weight class above where he is now because he and Tyron Woodley got into it backstage.
He gets into it with everybody, man. Fearless. I love it.
Yeah,
And who knows if that's PR or if that's just talking more talk to keep the hype going. But yeah, he's something else. So
the cool thing about him that I've seen in the past is that he'll get into a fight and he'll win a fight, and he's very gracious in whenever he wins. Like he'll go and talk to the person that he just beat and say, "Look, it was all for the press. We're getting paid here, so
yeah.
Thanks for the fight. It was a good fight. He still won."
yeah. If you've got extra time and you're on YouTube, just Google Conor McGregor pre-fight press conference.
Yeah, he tried to throw a chair this time, and then
water
after
bottle
the fight,
last time cost him $150,000 for throwing the water bottle.
After the fight this time, he said, "I just want to take this time to apologize to absolutely no one."
Yeah.
Yeah,
so cool. So if you don't follow MMA, I apologize for the last 3 minutes there.
Yeah.
But maybe you should.
But it's talking about a powerful
cool
brand.
stuff.
I mean, his brand right now is above any other.
Yeah, and he backs it up, with,
this was
with
a
some
perfect,
solid hands. But
the perfect time for him in the UFC because the UFC had been doing a great job for a while, and the heavyweights were the big money fights, and there really wasn't like overly exciting fighters because you had fighters like
Brock Lesnar, you had Chuck Liddell. Well, he was I guess light heavyweight. Even Tito.
George St. Pierre dropped out. He's gone. Anderson Silva is gone. So you didn't have any real excitement. And Conor McGregor was about to completely
Silva's
quit.
Gone. Yeah, I mean,
so he was going to quit fighting. He was going to be done with fighting, and then he got on this win streak, and then he started talking mad smack. And it worked.
Because he didn't care anymore.
He got in people's heads because he really talked about retirement just 5 years ago. He wasn't going to fight ever again.
That's crazy, man.
And then he's going after Floyd Mayweather. Talking and so he's gotten a lot of publicity. And I'm not saying that it works for everybody's brand, but it sure works for his.
There are parts of it that could work for everyone, and we're going to talk about that a little bit coming up. After a couple breaks here. I did before we jump to break here. I do want to mention that last Friday, several of you guys turned out for the Ignite Houston event that I told you about, and it was great to get to meet some of you guys. Take pictures, and I know a lot of you even followed up with emails, and I've been trying to follow up with all those. But if you guys aren't familiar with Ignite Houston, I really encourage you to go check out their social media page on Facebook. You just type in Ignite Houston. A really cool group. They basically bring speakers to educate, inspire, and share thought-provoking content. I was honored to be one of the speakers this time, and the rest of the speakers did a phenomenal job as well. And so it's just a really cool Houston-based, Houston content, event. And so I love what they're doing. Daniel Cohen and Jeff Lindstrom over there.
Is there any video on it right now?
It'll be coming out. So go to our Facebook. You can go to Jason Arsamont on Facebook, and I'll be posting as the videos come out because it's pretty cool stuff.
Excellent.
And we are going to look at social media platforms coming up next and how they can help shape and define your brand. And we're also going to talk a little bit about leadership. We're at a Boy Scout troop.
I don't know anything
Boy
about
Scout
that.
camp out, so we're going to talk a little bit about leadership.
There was definitely a lot there. It was a well-run event for sure. So, all right,
doubt.
We'll be right back after this. You're listening to The Hook.
Mount Everest, rock climbing.
TheHookRadio.com is where you find us online. You want to tell us what you think about the show? Look, be nice. Be gentle.
Be nice.
That's where you find the forums and also the links to our past shows. We have a ton of them because we've been doing this a year already.
Old, man. Veterans.
I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah, so that's Jason Arsamont. He is the marketing maverick, our veteran marketing maverick.
Thank you.
And this is being brought to you by ontoboxtraining.com, which is a great little company that he also has a lot of time that he's invested in.
Yeah, it's our corporate training group. This company really was born out of our marketing clients and our business consulting clients asking us if there was more that we could do when it came to helping bring up their sales team, helping to bring up their operations, or, hey, I'm having problems in my accounting and finance department. Is there anything you guys can do there? And so I started taking the principles that I had implemented into my own companies and partnered with a couple other people that had some really solid foundational core material and put together 3 training programs, one specifically for sales, one for operations, and one for accounting and finance. And so, so now we have those, and it's something that we go in and we can work with small to large companies on any one of those 3 kind of pillars of business. And so if you have a department in your business that's not running as smoothly as you think it should be or as it could be, check us out at ontoboxtraining.com. Shoot us an email, give me a call. Love to come out and talk with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
It's just that easy, and it's fixed. All the problems are fixed. Josh is looking at me like, it's not that easy.
Yeah, it's not. Okay.
No.
As far as I know, it's not that easy.
Business is never easy, but an outside perspective from time to time is definitely a good idea. I know it's helped me tremendously in my companies.
It could be easy if you have the right leadership, though.
Leadership is key.
How do you like that segue? What
I like
up?
that, man. Yeah, it's we are going to talk a little bit about leadership. There's been this story going around. I'm not even going to get into the politics of it or mention the name of the company. If you're familiar with the story, you'll understand where I'm coming from. But I was just really disappointed from the leadership position of this particular company. Long short of it is a CEO sent out an email to his entire staff.
Whoa, are you talking politics?
We're not talking politics. We're
Okay.
talking leadership. I'm setting a foundation for why we're talking about leadership and kind of where this came from over the past week.
Okay.
He had sent out an email to his entire staff, kind of giving his perception of one of the candidates, and then basically saying that, hey, if you disagree with this perception or this type of behavior, then email me back and resign because it won't be tolerated. Now, one side says he's saying if you're going to act a certain way in our office, we won't hold up to that. The other side of the aisle he's saying if you don't agree with these policies and this type of politics, then you don't belong here.
But did you read what he actually wrote, or did you read what other people said that he wrote?
I read what he wrote, and I can see both sides, right? He talked about politics specifically, and then he talked about what his interpretation of that was in form of behavior.
The
And
problem-
said, if you disagree with this, then you can leave.
The problem is your perception of that is the reality.
Right. So if you are on the other side of the aisle from him, you took that as a very political direction, right? And so kind of regardless, I guess it got me thinking about leadership and how to be a good leader, and how, with just under 100 employees across all of our companies, what we've got employees that are on different political spectrums, from one side to the other to the middle. And then we probably have some that aren't even involved or know anything about politics at all, right? It's just statistically that's the way it is. And, what it came down to me was basically, regardless of politics and really regardless of the topic, if you're giving your employees ultimatums like that, I just felt like that was poor leadership. It was a really good opportunity for him to step up as a leader, because for me, what it comes down to, a leader should intrigue the people around them to want to follow their actions and beliefs. Now, that means that people should look at you and say, man, there's something about that leader, that man or that woman, and it makes them want to be closer to you and learn from you and see, man, I love the way that they act. I love the way they hold themselves, the way that he treats his family, the way that he treats us as a staff. I want to learn more. I want to get inside that person's head. And when they do, and they find out what your beliefs are, you have a more solid ground to, recruit your beliefs, rather than just coming out and saying, this is what we stand for. If you don't like it, you can turn in your resignation.
The ability to inspire in the face of change makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. Calm, cool-headed, And then he even had to send out a second email, kind of re-explaining what he meant in that, which just backs up that it was probably a poor email.
And again, let's restate that this is a CEO addressing all of his employees.
Yes. And so I just felt it was a little harsh and no good. I've been around some amazing leaders. I'm an Eagle Scout, so I grew up in the Boy Scouts, martial arts. I've spent a couple decades in and around the martial arts industry. Endurance coaches, I've spent a lot of time around marathon and triathlon. Endurance coaches are extremely inspiring. And even guests on the show, from Alan West, Carl Lewis, Oliver Luck, and just many, many others. I mean, I feel like I've been able to learn from that and see that, whether you're a business leader or a coworker, or even just looking with your family, the ability to lead has always been really critical to me. And I'm sure you probably saw some of that at this camp out that you were at last weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, in the Scouts is all about leadership quality, that they're teaching young men to be able to have this leadership quality in them and to act a certain way. And not saying you have to act a certain way in the way that you behave, but
or your ideology or your beliefs.
Yeah.
Just like,
you can believe what you want and you can be whoever you are, but how you handle the leadership skills is all, what they kind of I mean, you've been through that part of it.
No,
because if you didn't learn that, then you think you'd be running companies today?
No, I don't think I would, because I don't think I would have. I don't feel that I'm a natural leader in the sense that I know a lot of other guys are. Like, they're very extremely headstrong. They're kind of like a take charge. I believe I lead more through inspiring people. I'm not like kind of a dictator. Here's the marching orders. This is what we're going to go take over the world. I think I'm just a different type of leader, and I think I did. I learned that from Boy Scouts and learning about respecting yourself and respecting others, and lead with love rather than with telling people to turn in their resignation if they don't agree with you 100%. And I couldn't believe that that's more wrong for sure.
Can you think of other people that did you see? Anybody else out there that is the CEO of a company taking a different stance and to where they kind of got all of their employees together in a show of solidarity?
Well, I haven't seen that. I'm sure it's out there. The media is not going to spend much time with those, with the good stuff that happens. And I think that's part of the issue with a lot of the media is they focus on things and they over-exaggerate it. And I'm sure even the CEO of this company that I'm talking about probably has a totally different explanation for it. And that's why I'm not even going to mention his company name or who he is, because I'm not here to, rag on him or pull him through the mud. I was just using it as a base for kind of getting the conversation going here. But yeah, there's got to be, there's got to be other CEOs who are saying, hey, this is an opportunity to bring my company together and let them know that regardless of their thoughts and how emotional they may be or how divisive these times may be, like I'm going to be a common rock for them that they can come to if they have problems. They know they can count on me for a job. They can count on me for a paycheck every week at the very minimum, right? And I feel like that's our role as leaders. It's not just here's your marching orders, make sure you get it done.
Do you feel like as someone in a leadership position that it's better whenever you go through this kind of change to maybe not say anything about it, or as a leader you should at some point?
I think it depends on the size of your organization, right? Like we're a fairly small group. I've got a pulse on my team pretty much day to day. I can see how people are acting and feeling. I can feel the energy of the office. And, I didn't feel like there was a need to do a formal addressing what had happened with the elections. Everyone's attitude and temper in the office seemed to be great, and so that's not saying that everybody in office agreed with what happened, but so I think a larger organization, I think it's a great opportunity. I think the leaders they should rise up, do some type of formal statement. I mean, it's a huge thing. Anytime we have a new president, they should keep politics out of it. In my opinion, and I know a lot of other business owners that they run me up and down about that. They're like, Jason, hey man, if you're if you're liberal, then you need to be liberal through and through. If you're conservative, you should run your business conservative. And my take is that, look, I run my business on my principles. If you decide that those principles are one side of the aisle or the other, that's up to you to judge my actions, and it's up to you to decide if you want to follow me in growing this business and on this journey that I'm on. And so for me personally, I don't feel like I need to make that stuff public.
I feel like it's more in the way that you say it. It's more that if you have a concise message that can't be construed in one way or the other, and it was probably written from an emotional standpoint for this CEO that did that.
Yeah, it was probably like a 4 a.m.
Yeah, so written at an emotional time and didn't put much thought into anyone having a different opinion than his own, and didn't think that people could misconstrue it in any way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and sometimes you live in a bubble. You know what I mean? As many amazing leaders as I've had in my life, I've also had some horrible ones. And sometimes that's the best way to learn. I mean, I've learned from bad leaders. I've had, bosses that were just unbelievably horrible.
I get it. I got one right now.
That one at Brightbox.
Yeah.
My own father at times was very selfish. Leading with selfish intentions, is definitely something that my father did, and several of my previous bosses. Like, if I don't feel like you're leading me for my own good and for my intentions as well, then I think that's poor leadership. And I kind of felt like that's what this guy was doing, was like for his own benefit. He didn't want to have anybody on his team that disagreed with him. And again, I'm probably going to get some emails, people, that's not what he meant. Well, you know what? He had people in his company that thought that, and he had people in the media that thought that.
This is why you hire PR companies.
Yeah. Proofs, have somebody else read your emails.
Exactly.
I mean, you've probably had some of those horrible bosses, or I don't even want to say bosses, but leaders, because they might not even be a boss. But, maybe it's on a team or in sports or...
Well, I've had an
or
example.
Been pretty fortunate. My brother says that, man, the majority of people, he's like, man, when I asked him about it, he had a hard time thinking of leaders that he thought were not fit to be leaders for him.
Well, I guess from my standpoint is that I have a very limited industry experience, because for me, it's been 20-something years of radio and then working in marketing. So I can either talk about the company that employs me on a part-time basis, being on the air at The Buzz and on 950, or I can talk about you.
Yeah.
So,
I guess, yeah. But I can imagine, and working even with the radio station over all these years, they've done a lot of buying and selling and moving and stuff, and you've had to been part of transition teams, and somebody that's like, hey, let's dust ourselves off, we're going to make the best of this and get moving, or somebody that just drug y'all through the trenches longer than necessary. It's like, come on, like. I
will say this, that I went through a transition over here at a radio station, and the management, there was time for a change, and it's their decision, which I'm fine with. I've been on the other side where I was part of a team that came in to change the radio station to something else and had to let people go, and that's how radio goes sometimes. And so I was on the other side of it. But there was a lot of respect from the leaders here at iHeart that they called me and said, hey, look, we want you to come back over here and work with us. That was just something that, it had to be done at the time, but we really value you as an employee, so we don't want to see you go anywhere else. And I had other opportunities, and they brought me back on over here, and it's been great. And I love the leadership at this company. We have some really, really strong people. So I have nothing to say because there's so many different opinions in radio. Oh, there's huge opinions in radio.
Yeah, and I wasn't probing for a bad radio guy. I mean, I've got to meet a lot of these guys over here at the station, and I have a lot of respect for them.
But the thing is, with all the differing opinions in here and the diverse ethnic backgrounds that we have, the leadership at top, they keep it together. Yeah. And they do it in a really, really dignified manner.
Yeah.
So,
well, and so, as we go, we're going to have to take a quick break. But
we're way past, bro.
I do have some tips for sharing or for growing yourself as a leader and leaders underneath you. So stay tuned, and we will get back to that here in just a bit.
All right. It's up next on The Hook.
You always had an eye for things that glitter.
TheHookRadio.com, our online home. My name is Josh, along with the marketing maverick. That's Jason Arsmine. It feels like a very politically driven show that we have going on.
It's not. I mean, there's, maybe politically driven, but we're not talking politics. We're talking leadership because it's important right now. And I think giving the listeners some perspective on leadership, at least from where I've come from, and maybe some points on how to be a good leader.
It feels like everything, since the election, there's very, polar opposites on how America is supposed to be run right now. And all we want to say is, it's going to be okay.
It's going to be all right,
It's going to be all right.
Everything's going to be good. Everything's going to be okay.
And that's why we talk about business and leadership, because we want our thoughts about this to help, from the top down.
And we are in the greatest country in the world that allows us to have control of our destiny. And business is one of those things that we can do that with.
I saw that on Facebook the other day. Somebody said they were upset, and so they went off. And then one of my friends posted, I'm just happy to be in the greatest nation in the entire world.
Yeah, amen.
And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, even with things, whatever you believe. It's like, that puts things in perspective. We've been handed a gift to be.
It could be a heck of a lot worse, right? I mean, think of just about anywhere else in the world. So let's talk a little leadership. We've got 5. These are kind of basic points. I'm sure it's things that we've heard of in the past. And I still like to do these because even for me, somebody that does a lot of reading and writing and talking about this kind of stuff, I find it interesting each time I hear top 5s and top 10s, because you digest the knowledge a little different each time. And maybe one of these things will stick out a little bit more this week, and you can implement that one point, or maybe one of these things will stick out for one of your employees who's struggling with, managing and leading their team. So keep that in mind. Nothing here is earth-shattering, mind-blowing first time you've ever heard it, but we're going to re-strengthen our values in what leadership is. And I always start with your word. For me, keeping a promise is top of the line. You can't expect your employees to, report to you and meet deadlines and do things on time if you aren't doing what you say you're going to do. And that starts with treating them with respect. That starts with making sure their paychecks are always ready. That starts with, making sure that revenue's coming in if you're a business owner that's responsible for that. So keeping your word, to me, is where it starts, because you can't build trust and respect, which is really the attributes of a strong leader. You can't build that if you don't start with just doing what the heck you say you're going to do. And let's face it, that's really the last thing we want our team members to do is not follow through with what they say they're going to do.
Yeah, we have that on the wall of our at work.
Yeah. Well, man, all
Keep
right,
your promise.
Josh. Yeah. Good. Somebody read it.
There's only 3 things that we say.
Yeah, there's only 3 things you got to do.
Yeah.
I won't test you.
I forgot the other two.
Well, see, but at least you're honest about
Actually,
it.
I think it's do what you promise or keep your promise, respect one another, and then there's another one.
Respect in all you do.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, respect the work that you turn in. Don't turn in crap.
Yeah. Sorry. I got 2 out of 3.
So number 2, I'm a big believer in this, that you dress for the part. And I used to say that you dress nice, you dress formal, or nowadays I don't know if that's really necessary. I mean, I tend to believe that you could be more casual nowadays and still come across as professional, be taken seriously. You don't have to wear the suit and tie depending on the industry you're in. I mean, what's your take, Josh? You're a fairly casual guy, right? I mean, you don't...
I'm casual because my boss told me, don't worry about the tie. Because whenever we first went to meetings, you saw how uncomfortable I was. You would introduce me to a client, and I'm over there, Mr. Stuffy Face. I got the tie choking off my circulation, and I couldn't breathe.
Josh's neck vein was just...
And so Jason goes, you know what? I feel like in what we do in the company and in our culture that we don't really have to be that suit and tie kind of company. You have to dress accordingly.
Yeah.
Now, if you show up to something that's suit, that if you're going to a company that everybody's wearing suits, you want to wear a suit, but a lot of the companies that we work with, it's very casual, and you have a conversation, and you feel like you get into a better conversation with your client whenever it's more casual based.
Yeah, I don't go all the way down to, allowing employees to wear flip-flops and jeans or shorts every day, because I do feel that the way that you dress evokes an attitude from you. Mm-hmm. And so, if you want to have professional conversation in meetings, I kind of feel like, hey, at least jeans and a polo, maybe at a minimum.
You're talking about me there.
No, I used to have a program developer that he was just an unbelievable guy, and but no matter what, a couple days a week he would wear shorts and flip flops with these crusty toenails, and I swear that our meetings those days were just less productive because everybody was like, "Seriously, man?" Like. So I'm big on that. Dress the part, dress to influence, dress to impress. Let your team look up to you. I mean, I've probably got more casual the past couple of years, but I used to always make sure that I was dressed more formal or more professional than the people that I was around. Treat your team. Number 3 is treating your team as you expect them to treat your customers. I think this is a big one. I think it starts building a culture of communication, a culture of love and respect, however you want to say that. That if I'm, not treating my team with a lot of respect, it's just like children. If you treat them like crap, they're going to want to have an outlet to treat other people like crap. And they start emulating the people in higher ranks around them. You see it in military, you see it in family structure, and I think you see it in business too. So if I issue orders and tasks that I'd like to have done, and I issue those in a calm, professional manner with the right amount of deadlines and time frames, I've seen that the staff conveys that same type of a tone back to our customers. So I think it's really important to be as respectful to your team as you would want them to be to your customers, whether it's the guys in the shop or it's your customer service reps or your accounting department. Don't be a jerk, basically.
Yeah.
Every now and again. I've never been a jerk at the office.
Not to me.
Not to you.
No, I mean, not that I've seen. No.
That's a good point.
Don't
ask my wife.
Yeah, she shares the desk with
Some
you.
of my accounting meetings with her.
Oops.
Number 4 is invest in your team's growth. I think this is really big, and I'll be completely honest here. I think this is one of the areas that we've struggled to do as a small company is to continue to help our employees grow.
Yeah.
We get so busy, man, and it's always in the back of my mind. I'm looking for or thinking about, are there seminars or are there workshops that I can send the staff to?
But you've started doing that. I know that Brian went to one
yeah.
not too long ago. And my wife's company, she's a practice manager for West Oaks Veterinary Hospital. And for, I think, 4 months straight that she went to continuing education to really help the practice grow.
I love it.
And so investing into her skills as a manager is helping the practice overall.
Absolutely. I mean, look at any position If you spend too much time in that position and you kind of build this wall around yourself, you're going to become unopen to new ways of doing things. You're just going to follow the process. You're not going to ask questions anymore. The status quo is the status quo. And, I've seen employees when they go do a seminar, they go do a workshop, they always come back with little extra excitement and energy. And, oh, man, we just learned about this latest way of, I don't remember what it was. The graphic design team came back with some button that they found in Photoshop that they were all geeking out about. But, man, they were so happy. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, cool. I don't know if it was worth the $800, but, they came back and they were – no, it was definitely worth it.
It does help productivity overall.
Yeah. Yeah, and just feeling like they're growing as professionals. It's easy to get stuck in a rut. And then number 5, I'm really big about this, is asking for input and collaboration. I've got some friends who are business owners too who they tend to kind of disagree with me on this. They just like to give the orders and don't ask for feedback. I tend to run a little bit more of an open ship. I like to say, hey, here's what I'm suggesting. I'm not saying it has to be this way. If you've got a better idea, I'll listen. Doesn't mean I'm always going to do it, but I do like my team to give me input and feedback and really collaborate to help us come up with the solution rather than just me dictate it.
We do a lot of that on Fridays when we talk about, well, what do we have going on work-wise? What projects do we have going on, and how can we make the workflow easier? And we continue to refine that, I think, every week whenever we have those meetings, because everybody gives their input.
Yeah, and I just feel like if I just had robots, or little drones who are just doing specifically what I tell them to do, and I'm going to give you 100% of the solution, 100% of all the answers, and I'm not engaging you in conversation to come up with these solutions with me, then how do employees take ownership in that? And then how are they really held accountable when they're just like, man, I did exactly what you told me to do. Whatever. I'd rather them, be a part of that and believe that my staff has a brilliant mind too, and they can have input. So, all right. So those are my top 5.
We're going to take a break.
I know. We're going to talk about social media and how you can use it to leverage and build your brand.
That's up next on The Hook.
We were all down at Margie's bar, telling stories.
We are The Hook with the Marketing Maverick. That's Jason Arsmont. Today talking a lot about leadership and UFC. And if anybody knew the things that we talked about off the air, that's probably almost a better show.
So, yeah, I like the one that we were talking about earlier. So Josh is like, what do you do when your buddy gets drunk and starts texting you, man, I love you? Are you the kind of guy that you're like, I love you too, man? Even if you're not drunk, it's. I know guys have a hard time with that.
Okay, so this is a buddy of mine, and I don't know how to respond because it's not like we're like good buddies or anything, but we're friendly and Facebook friends and stuff like that, and so when you've had a few drinks, you should probably stay away from your phone, is how I think of it. That's, for a while.
He loves you. He just want to let you know.
I know, and I don't know how to respond. It's like, yeah, ditto, bro.
I like you a lot too.
Yeah, you're cool. You're cool. And then he comes back with something like, no, man, don't be like that. Like, what do I do?
I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk. What do I say? Yeah. I
guess what you should do is the next day you just say, hey, sorry, man, my phone died.
Hey, you've told me that before. Wait a minute. No.
Oops.
All right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit from talking about leadership.
In our personal lives.
If you missed the leadership stuff and you want to get a little bit more of that, you can go to thehookradio.com. We will upload this segment normally on Mondays or Tuesdays. Yeah. Last weekend's show will be up on the website. So go to thehookradio.com. You can hear all about leadership and a couple reminders on how to be a good leader. So, one of the things I thought we talk about is, what a brand is and how to grow or develop a brand visually. And I guess to kind of start, when I'm talking about a brand, I'm talking about the identity of a company, a product, a person, right? And by identity, I really mean kind of like how you would identify, or if you did identify with a company product or brand or service, whatever it is that company has to offer. And how do you build these powerful brands? You have to have the look, have to be adaptable. They have to evoke emotional reaction. And, when you see something, I do this all the time in some of my presentations. I'll throw up a slide with, 15, 20 different company logos on it. And, immediately I'll ask people if they have any association with these brands. And immediately everyone's hand will go up. And then I ask people to say, okay, what do you think of when you see these logos? And someone will see the apple, and they're always different, right? They're always different. People always have a different perspective. That brand evoked a different emotional reaction to that individual than it did to somebody else. Now, the good brands will narrow that down so that your response when what you say about them is similar in nature, right? Believe it or not, there are cool tools to figure out how to build these. But the problem is that if you don't do them all the time, say you're a marketing professional or you're a business owner and you're like, man, my brand just kind of feels flat. It feels like it's all just blue, which is really common, brand color. It doesn't feel like it's speaking to me unless I'm given the pitch myself, right? Or the salespeople are given the pitch, like our website or our feel, our look doesn't, convey anything about our culture, our tone, our passion. And so, obviously at Brightbox, our brand marketing firm, we've got an exercise. It's called the Brand Map, and it's actually, you can get a copy of the book if you want. It's on Amazon. You can just search the Brand Map and by Jason Arsamont, and it'll pop up. So, looking at how you can do this on your own, though, and maybe kind of almost through like a social experiment, one of the sites that I found that has been really good, believe it or not, is Instagram. Are you an Instagram guy?
No, I don't. It's funny because a buddy of mine the other day who doesn't do Facebook, he was like, "Hey, did you see this on Instagram?" No, I don't do Instagram.
You're lucky. You're lucky to be on Facebook.
No, I have to be on Facebook just because
you probably got blocked from
radio.
Instagram. Let's be honest.
Can you get blocked? I don't know.
You can't show a picture of a fart.
I just got on the Twitter not too long ago.
Oh, did you?
The Twitter.
The Twitter?
Yes.
Come on, Pawpaw. Well, what I love about Instagram, why I believe it's a cool tool for starting to understand what branding is from a visual standpoint is that, Instagram's all visual. It's image driven. Visually, it's a great way to start seeing what style and what kind of emotion can be drawn from visuals. I feel like until you submerge yourself into just looking at visuals, you'll have a hard time identifying what the visual of your company needs to look like. If you flip through brand after brand after brand like we do as professionals who do this, I can tell you real quick, if I understand who your audience is, what they would like to see, right? Because I've done enough of the research, I've done enough of these things. But what Instagram could do to help you is that if you go through Instagram and you start interacting with it, you start engaging with brands, these brands are doing a really good job. And millennials are kind of like, it's just in their DNA. If they understand who the target audience is, they do a great job of building very clear visual components to match or to be aligned with that. And one of the ones I'll ask you guys to check out, and I did a little bit of research. I don't know this company personally or the business owner personally, but following them on Instagram a little bit and went to check out their website just to kind of prove that they're not a huge company. Because I want to show you somebody, a brand that I think does a really good job of visually, evoking an emotional reaction to an audience without being like a large company that can just afford everything, right? And so that company is, let me see the web address here. It's Godspeedtactical.com. It's kind of an interesting business, but just Godspeedtactical.com. Or if you're on Instagram, it's just Godspeed Tactical. Now, why I really like what they do is, so one of the main products that they sell is handkerchiefs. So you can
really,
yeah, it's interesting. But they're really beautiful designs. It's kind of cool printed fabric that is done, basically in a handkerchief. So I guess who knows what these people are using them for? I saw them as, man, they'd make a really cool pocket square just because they're really bright, colorful colors with cool designs on them. Might be kind of a neat way to be super kind of loud and different with your pocket square. But maybe a handkerchief too, just to keep in your pocket to wipe your hands, wipe your nose, whatever. I don't know. But point being, what I like about what they do is if you're following them on Instagram, you'll see that they continue to try to show pictures of that they believe their audience would like, regardless of the handkerchief being in there. Now, they put the handkerchief in the photo. There's knives and there's, guns, and there's, a cool looking lighter on a picture, and it's all sitting on a wood deck, and, it's full of texture. It's full of kind of grit. Everything that they probably feel their audience would be drawn to. And so it's a softer sell on the actual handkerchief itself. It allows you to say, man, this whole picture is kind of like somewhere I'd like to be. I'd like to relate with that, even if it's only for a little while. Like my brand, my personal brand is Jason Arsamont, is not that gritty, but man, it'd be kind of cool to own a piece of it.
Right.
Like I couldn't pull that off all day long, but it'd be kind of neat to associate a little bit with it. And so maybe they didn't even do it intentionally, but I really think they did a phenomenal job. And I follow a bunch of companies like this for different types of products, different types of inspiration. And these guys really nailed it. So I encourage you guys to go take a look at that. And probably the best way I can break it down how you should be portraying yourself on social media is just the 80-20 is a really good rule. 80% inspiration and just look and feel and just generous content, and 20% product or sales. And that's usually a good mix. If you're constantly just trying to sell and all they did was show pictures of their handkerchiefs and, hey, look at us, look at us, look at us, people would not be interested anymore. But they started putting them in scenes, becomes pretty neat.
So do they sell these knives too, or the knives comes with the sheath, or
now they need a new website. So
They
if
do
you guys
need a
are
new
listening,
website.
hit me up. I'll help you out with your website. You got great photography. Website's a little confusing.
and they're sold out of everything.
Yeah. So I don't want you guys
bad.
to I don't want y'all to look at their website as much as I want you to look at their Instagram, right? Because they've got followers, they're increasing in followers. They're doing a good job of creating a community of like-minded, like-cultured people who are interested in the visual scenes that they're putting together. And that's what I want people to go take a look at their page for, is what does your brand look like? What kind of scenes would you have to put together for your target audience to say, oh man, these are my people. These are the kind of people that I want to work with, right? And what it's going to make you have to do is start getting more and more specific or niche as to who your target audience is. And I think a lot of times we're so broad because we don't want to exclude anyone, right? Because we want to make sure we can sell to everybody,
Right.
want every dollar that we can get. But the reality is the way marketing is turning is that you have to be more specific. You have to be more niche and be very specific for that particular audience member so that they are 100% in tune, in line with your message and your look and your feel.
Yeah, this is very much a culture.
Yeah.
The what they sell on this website and the way it looks on Instagram is they're supporting a culture that's really going to dig the product that they're pushing.
Yeah, the product could be crap, but it makes you want to buy it if you could associate with that type of a culture. So give it a shot. Get on Instagram. Start playing around with it. You could start posting pictures of different types of scenes and textures and things, and see if your target audience starts engaging back. But give it a shot. It's a cool platform to play with.
All right, we got to go.
I know that's the end of the show. Wish we had more time.
Yep, that's it. We will be back next week. Hey, thanks for listening to us. Always go to thehookradio.com for more.